Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today what I want to go over is just some concerning issues I have with the next latest and greatest installment of a first-party game, which we're talking about Starfield here, and how the fact that it has still not even gone gold yet. So there's some other addressing concerns I want to go over as well in just a moment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to go over is some concerning issues for the recent, or going to be recent, release of Starfield for the Xbox and PC and whatever Xbox ecosystem you're going to play that on. So there's a lot of things to kind of go over here, but first and foremost, if you haven't noticed and you watched previous videos, this is kind of a blank wall. I got some stuff eventually coming so I can kind of spruce up the back a little bit. Just the direction and the change up here is making it so it's kind of a little more bare because there's just nothing over here, and I had to kind of move and shift and all that stuff out of the way so I could create something a little different for everybody rather than an open space behind me room background. So I appreciate that, your patience with that. But getting back on track here, the first thing that just kind of came to light is the fact that we're talking about Starfield and the fact that it has yet to have gone gold, right? A lot of folks have kind of chimed back in on social media stating, well, Bethesda games don't go gold. Well, Fallout 4 did. Multiple other games did. Plenty of other Bethesda games that didn't have. It's just a standard practice to kind of state this game is shipped not only physically, digitally. I'm not 100% sure if Starfield at this point in time has a physical edition. I know there's a collector's edition with physical stuff in there, of course, as well as you got the controller. But as far as a physical disc, I'm not sure if that's a thing. But regardless, going gold means that it's stopped. You have a hard final copy that you're going to push out via software base or, disc based if that ends up being the case. But it hasn't happened. And this game, to everybody, is releasing on September 6th, the same day that Baldur's Gate 3 is for the PlayStation 5. But you can get 5 days early access if you're paying an extra amount of money. I believe it's around $35 or something like that to get early access and get other stuff as well. So if you plan to buy the game already, okay. If you plan to just play it day one on Game Pass, or in this case, it isn't really day one because you can get it early access. So I find that kind of iffy as well. So I feel that's a new thing. The most recent one that comes to mind is Diablo 4. They had an early access deal as well, where you can pay extra money or pay the higher tier edition. Then you get access to play that game earlier than the rest of the world or the rest of the public, right? I don't like those practices. I don't condone those practices. I think it's really shady, personally. For the fact that people do have FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And you certainly capitalize on that for those that don't have the patience or those that are really looking forward to that game in particular, whether it be Diablo 4, whether it be Starfield, which a lot of people are looking forward to playing. So you're going to capitalize on that by, that goes hand in hand with the fact that Game Pass, day one, AAA games, they need to get that cost back. And I don't think at this point in time, Game Pass is allocating all those funds back into the funds that's coming out for development and everything else. That being said, there's other things that are of concern to me that I feel like this game needs to take a little bit longer and even bake. I know it's been delayed a couple times now or more. The game's been in the making for years and years now, of course, if you haven't been following along, but I think it still needs more time. The first piece of this is, yes, it hasn't gone gold yet. That is concerning. The other piece of this is there's rumblings that review codes have still not been sent out to reviewers, that possibly the reviews and the embargo and actually getting in the players' hands are not until September 1st. So that's 5 days previous to full public access without the early access, like I was mentioning previously. So that's a little concerning as well, that why would you not want to give, the folks out there, the reviewers and anybody that you can, hands-on. There's been almost little to no advertisement on this game, aside from the showcase that they had this summer. And, there's no billboards, there's no, online digital ads on YouTube or TV or anything that I've come across. So if you folks have come across this and some sort of advertisements for Starfield, let me know. I have not. I'm being honest, completely 100%. I have not come across one. So I find that very interesting as well. There's just so much to kind of unpack here, ultimately. In regards to that, I know it's the older engine, but we're seeing 30 frames per second, and 30 frames per second is so jarring. I mean, any game out nowadays, whether it has ray tracing, whether it has anything else as well, visual effects, particles, whatever engine it's running on, you have the ability to scale that and be able to choose, 1080 and 60 frames per second, or upscale this, upscale that in working, and for 60 frames do even 120 frames per second, even with these current gen consoles, right? The consoles have been out for a few years now, and it's time that we're able to take and utilize those tools. And this kind of harkens back to the previous videos that I've done, stating the fact that the Series S is in fact holding back games, and it is. I really do. Like I mentioned previously as well, the Series X is having a parity clause that Microsoft makes sure that is locked in. There is a parity clause. The game has to perform very similarly to the Series S and the Series X because that's what they promised out the gate. Even though you could take, for example, there's videos out there with Street Fighter V and multitude of other games as well where we'll take reuse ARM, for instance. You're not seeing the veins and the other details into that arm and their close-ups. It's not like, oh, I wouldn't notice anyway, it's far away. No, you notice with a lot of actions and stuff, and this goes on with other games as well. And then we have Baldur's Gate, where split screen is not doable on the Series S. It is on the X. They said, hey, we can figure it out on the X, we could do it here, but due to the parity clause, we cannot release it with the Xbox Series X because Microsoft doesn't want us to do that. So again, I think also, Todd Howard and the team and whoever else is having to figure out a way for it to run smoothly on the Series S, you know what I mean, for when it's fully downloadable. We're not talking about cloud streaming here, just fully downloadable game to own or just download from Game Pass, whatever, and you have to make it work. So there's just a lot of concerns there. I just don't understand. It really hinders the game, and I just feel like it needs more time to bake. Larian Studios, again, talking about Baldur's Gate 3. They need more time. That time equals money, resources, and all sorts of stuff. And we all know this. This is common sense stuff if we sit down and think about it, yes. But I do want to bring it up because maybe it's just not in the forefront of everybody's mind of like what's going on. Now, I think the game has potential to be very, very good. This isn't a crap post or a crap video that I'm here to try to slander Starfield. I know a lot of you are very excited to play this game, and you should be. You've been waiting a very long time for not only just a new IP in general, but a new IP that can maybe hit a home run for you. It's been a long time. Halo Infinite, not being a new IP, being Halo, but it was that's why people call it Midfinite, right? It's okay. The campaign is okay, but it was missing features at launch. There was no Forge, there's no this, there's no that. Split screen was an issue. And then the games as a service portion for the multiplayer has been hit and miss, and they might be finding their way a little bit better now. I don't know on that aspect. I hear back and forth on it. Since I'm not in and out of it often or anything like that, then I'm not going to speak for that. But, there's just a lot of things that they're waiting for. They're hoping this game is going to be the end-all be-all. And I think if you put too much hype into it, the chances are you have more opportunity to be let down, to have that, affect that hype, to affect your interest in it, to affect your fun. You're going to be coercing yourself to be like, no, this is fun. You're playing this is fun. I don't mind the bugginess, and Bugthesda for a reason, day one, all the time, and leave it to the modders and everybody else in the community to fix that or wait for patches or whatever. And you're trying to convince yourself. I know a lot of far off people trying to convince themselves that Redfall was a great game. By no means necessary was that a good game. They weren't being honest with themselves. They're not being honest with followers or theirs. It was not a good game from the get-go. It's still not a good game. Xbox promised, as well as the studio, Arcane, promised that there would be a 60 frames per second patch on Redfall by now. There has not been one. It's like swept under the rug. Nothing's happening, right guys? It's just, I understand the player count probably severely dropped off, and it's going to cost a lot more money to pay devs and such to fix this and to implement patches and frames and updates and whatever else. I get that, but you publicly promised that you would deliver and make this game better and continue to support it, and you were apologizing and very sorry for the state that it released in. I don't want to see that for the Starfield fans. I don't want to see that for Starfield, because regardless of how bad a game is, most devs have to put in tons and tons of hours into these games, especially when they are a double or triple A game. It even goes for some indie games as well, right? You have a smaller team, doesn't mean you're putting in the hours and work, but they put in blood, sweat, and tears, time away from their friends and family and anything else, and then it comes out because of mismanagement. Somebody's not following up appropriately, someone's not giving enough time. I know stockholders are to blame for a large part of that sort of stuff as well, but there's things to manage, there's things to scale back on, there's things to fine tune in the meantime, and sometimes you got to cut back on certain things to make other aspects of that game shine and stand out and become something of a special experience for you as a gamer and a fan, So I just really hope it delivers, but I just wanted to share those concerns because here we are less than 30 days away, and we have no gone gold status, which usually, worst case scenario, it's a month out. There's your gold status. We gone gold. It's ready to go, printed. We feel confident. Don't worry about it. Yes, there might be a day one patch, but the game we feel confident in as a whole, whatever. So very, very concerning to me. I don't understand, and I just feel like this is going to be, a pattern ultimately with these guys and Microsoft, and I hope it's not. I hope I'm completely wrong, but I just have this odd feeling about it, and usually that's not wrong, but I hope I am. I want it to be good. Like I said, let it go on record that I want it to be good. I have no reason for it to want to be a bad game or a bad experience for anybody. All console war stuff aside, I don't want that for anybody. So hopefully it works out. I just hope those concerns don't continually add on top of each other and it ends up being a Redfall type of experience, and only knows what'll happen here. So time will tell. We'll have to see. This is probably going to be, unless something really breaks loose, this is going to be my last Starfield post until it releases. And if there's something to talk about in regards to it, whether it be the reviews being amazing, horrible, if everything's just fine and normal, we probably won't talk about it unless it's an experience you guys want to talk about, of course. But I just wanted to share those final thoughts about the game and everything that kind of comes with it, and those addressing concerns, especially with the Series S and such. So appreciate everybody. As always, we are continuing to grow. As the time of this recording, we are 647 subscribers out of that 1,000 subscriber goal. I know we're getting there. You guys are awesome, so thank you so much. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like. Comment down below any of your thoughts about this video down below. And if you haven't already, and if you consider so, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. So thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.